teams on the stage right now will be joining us on the late game show. So don't forget to go check that out as the match ends. Of course, for all of you at home, you'll be able to check it out on Steam.tv or right here on Twitch as the show goes on. So keep that in mind as the match ends. No need to rush out of there. Everyone's still in here. So we'll celebrate all together and then walk on over to the Queen Elizabeth Theater. And that should be a very special way to wrap up TI8 here from Vancouver. Well, gentlemen, going into Game 3, do you have any specific expectations starting from the draft?
I think it really depends what gets left through in the first phase. Does Enchantress get left? Does this IO Gyro get left in the pool? It seems to me like LGD is fairly comfortable playing against this IO Gyro. Yeah. It's a strat that pretty much came from China this year into TI. They're probably extremely familiar with it. I think the Kunkka is a great answer to it. This is a hero that matches up very well against Gyro's AoE damage. The Boat Rum has been huge in some of these team fights. So to me, it's about, does OG want to stick with some of these heroes they've picked in the openers consistently, and then what do they ban to maybe change how that game progresses from Game 2 first?
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, the series is tied 1-1 here at the Grand Finals. Let's get ready for the next one.
PSG LGD versus OG. Grand Finals, Game 3.
Game 3, OG now looking to regain momentum as PSG LGD dismantled them in the second game. But it could go either way. Both of these teams have proven that time and time again, both against each other and, of course, against several other top opponents. We started discussing the draft a little bit. What goes through, of course, Earthshaker continuing to be a high contention pick and ban. But then we also have, I mean, I think you were right, SVG, the no-tail hero pool. How does that pan out? And MSS, I expect, LGD doesn't have to change much of that. They'll continue to target that early on.
I mean, they'll probably keep the same bans. They banned Spectre, right?
Take out the Spectre again.
Play That's understandable.
Well, I think it's, LGD looks at it as, against the Spectre, there's not really a carry matchup right now. There are very few, I should say, that Spectre loses. Your only hope against the Spectre feels like you just have to win the lanes hard.
Yeah, I mean, there is this Terrorblade.
Yes, and, which Ame plays exceptionally.
And I think the other one is Void. I think Void can do well against Spectre in the late game, and especially if you do something like a Void Elder Titan, for example. We've seen Elder Titan being picked up a little more in this tournament. Extremely hard scaling support, huge team fight, right? So that is something, example, LGD could look to go into if they left the Spectre in the pool, but honestly, that hero is just terrifying to play at. It gets on your back line, it's killing your supports. Now you have to take a numbers fight.
Right.
It's very challenging.
No, one of the things I love about TI is that the final day always feels like it has its own meta. Earthshaker was picked. Earthshaker was picked 11 times in the first 180 games in this tournament, and it's been picked 4 out of the last 5 games between these two teams and banned the other one.
Now it feels like if you don't get the Shaker, you're on the back foot, right?
Whereas Venge, right, most picked and banned hero throughout the tournament, not touched today, gotten through all the drafts.
Yeah, I mean, we even mentioned it here in the panel in that second game. Does OG pick it up to get some of the flexibility they need? And no, it's just overlooked.
I mean, when it comes to the finals, the meta comes down to the two teams playing the game.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, the heroes they share, they become, the priority becomes higher. And you'll see different, priority than bad picks.
I mean, this draft is a battle between LGD wanting to get what they want, OG wanting to get what they want, and how do those two collide?
Yeah.
It doesn't have as much to do with the other 16 teams and what they wanted in this tournament.
LGD themselves taking out the Enchantress.
Yeah, and in place of the Silencer that they've been targeting against No-Tail. So I wonder if that's going to play a role here as we get ready for the first pick soon.
So the Silencer's an interesting hero in this tournament and also for No-Tail because it's not one of those traditional lane securing, lane stomping type of 5 positions, but the team fight that hero gives you is insane.
And it disrupts the other team's team fight.
Yes, exactly. And people have been figuring out lane combinations that do very well. We saw a lot of Weaver Silencer, for example. This hero can be very strong in lane, not to say he's weak. But it's not as if you're first picking an Ogre or a Chen where your game plan is very clear, right?
Yeah. I mean, speaking of the Chen, he got through.
You're right.
LGD didn't ban him, right?
Yeah.
So to me, it seems like LGD, they want to give something that they feel OG will take for sure, and then have a game plan against it. And this is something LGD likes to do a lot. because it's a reliable strat, right? This team has gone to the grand finals playing certain heroes. They're probably not going to give up on them. If you have a good game plan against them, you can go into the draft in a very solid and predictable position.
Finally, coming up the ranks and now getting banned out in the first phase. Earthshaker, no more in game 3.
Does that mean somebody has to pick Ogre, right? So we can all clap?
There you go. The clapping never stops.
I almost wonder if the Shaker's also related to the Silencer being in the pool. Because a lot of teams and players really don't like playing Earthshaker into Silencer. You even saw some people like Yapsor rushing this Ags just so like you can get in and out of the fight. So if OG feels like LGD is going to take a Silencer first pick, for example, they don't want to be stuck in the position where we don't really want to take Shaker into Silencer, but then we don't want to give him Silencer and Shaker. So that could be where that ban's coming from.
That's why it's banned, folks. Okay.
Oh, okay, I see. It's because Drow Ranger.
And Drow Ranger, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
All right.
And
OG
now
preemptively, kind of block picks it, right?
Yep.
You pick this PL that's good against Drow. Well, let's see if LGD cares.
It's good against the Drow, but that matchup is statistically a lot more even head-to-head than you'd think over the past year or so, just because the Drow can just win the lane so hard.
I mean, I think Drow strats in general they're just stronger and easier to execute than a PL strat, just overall, because your lineup is always going to synergize. You're always going to have tower push. You're always going to have objective taking. The PL doesn't necessarily give you that on its own, but he scales against the Drow lineup, right?
Yeah,
your
just
pure
pure
game is also like way faster, right? Like before the PL can come online.
No, that's exactly right. You look at in this tournament, before 40 minutes, PL is 9-12. After 40 minutes, he's 10-5.
Yeah.
All right, the Drow this time not being banned out by OG, so still in. Does PSG LGD take it for themselves?
I think you do. If I were LGD, you
just straight up first phase?
I think you just take it into the counters almost. It almost sounds too bold, but the thing about it is, if you're playing for this lane dominance, Drow is one of the best heroes to set up your other 2 lanes to do well. You almost never care what happens in the Drow lane. Like, as long as she get levels and your other 2 lanes are winning with the aura, you're pretty happy. So I think they're seriously considering it. I mean, it's a hard take to pick their into PL and Chen, right? Like, it almost seems crazy.
Yeah.
But they do have this Weaver, and Weaver can also be a 4 position with Drow.
Yeah.
So if they feel like the Drow is going to set their lanes up for a strong enough position where this PL will never come online, it's something to consider.
Taking the vent.
There you go. More than likely an ex-Nova hero, and that's another player that I feel like we don't talk about nearly often enough on LGD. Like, ex-Nova has been throughout the season probably the best technical 5-position laning support. He makes Ame's lanes so easy.
For sure. I mean, he's an absolute monster in the game. I've watched many of this guy's replays, taken many notes.
I mean, even
I still have much to learn.
I mean, even back then when he was playing on WG Unity, that guy was like one of the best players on the team.
I mean, ex-Nova and Afu were like 2 of the biggest subs to come out of that region, right? And I mean, kudos to him. It's never easy for a player to leave his region, go into another one, play on a team that you don't know what to expect, and he's showing up huge on the big stage.
Yeah.
At this point, is OG continuing to be concerned about the Drow at all then? Or are they comfortable with the picks they have and that's good enough for them?
I think at this point, maybe you ban it, but it's kind of like, all right, if they didn't take it there, they're probably not going to take it.
But they locked down the one support in the game that's maybe like the best with Drow Ranger in the Vengeful. The synergy between the Drow Ranger and the Vengeful Spirit, right? It just makes that damage spike carry on so much longer.
I actually think it's a mixed bag. I think sometimes the Venge with Drow, you get caught in a position where you end up with too many single target heroes, not enough team fight, not enough backup. You go to push this tower and the Venge is giving you more damage, but if they run at you as 5, you'd rather have maybe like an Undying Tombstone or, some frontliner, some bulk, some team fight. You see a lot of teams pick, for example, like Brewmaster with Drow, right?
Yeah.
It's not you wouldn't think like, well, what does Brewmaster do with Drow? But he gives you the control and team fight you need.
And I think OG have pretty much said, all right, pick Drow. We dare you with this Winter Wyvern pick.
I mean, Venge also offers something that Drow does as well, right? It's damage amp for your team.
Exactly.
So maybe LGD's thinking like, this Venge is already going to give us a little bit of what Drow gives us. We don't need to go too overboard.
I am on board. This is something Kyle and I have debated a lot. When it comes to damage amp, I am on board with the more the merrier. I think when you go for a damage amp strat, there's no such thing as
just all in.
As long as you have that team fight control.
Yeah.
Well, PSG LGD using a lot of their time in the past pick and then this one as well. Perhaps considering that same question on do they still commit to it or do they start to spread out what their team has?
I mean, they also need to decide like what PL answer they want to pick, right? OG banned the left track, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that's a maybe classic.
And we saw them go to that earlier in this tournament.
They might end up picking an M.
Wow. So, guys, this is something I wanted to ask the two of you about. You're picking Phoenix into PL with several of the classic Phoenix counters still in the pool as well. So you look at Lina, Ursa,
I mean,
so many
I
players
fully expect Lina to come out here on the 4th.
Yeah.
OG will first phase this hero if they see a Phoenix. It would make sense. It's one of the best egg killers. The PL is a very strong egg killer, but the thing to remember with Phoenix is if this hero is playing 4, he's less worried about the egg going off because he's going to get higher levels than a 5. He's going to get the higher egg levels, and this hero's other spells are also insane.
Yes.
He has a GPM talent. He has a heal / high damage nuke. They're all long-range spell casting abilities. You can do a lot of work with all these spells that you might not even need the egg to win the fight, just because of how much damage this hero does.
I mean, you see teams doing this more and more often. Like they pick these heroes that like into their counters, right? Because it gives what their lineup needs, pretty much. And Phoenix is what they need. They need some AOE, team fight, CC.
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like this is the most draft-dependent TI ever that we've had. If you look 2 or 3 years ago, like 70-30 outdrafts were so rare, and there's the Lina pick, as we talked about. At this TI, it feels like half the games on the main stage have been like 70-30 outdrafts.
It's very difficult. This TI, there's a lot of picks where if you get that last pick, or even the 4th and 5th like combo with a ban, it's extremely hard to answer some of these heroes. When we've seen them time and time again, right? The Broodmother, the Alchemist, the Huskar, the Meepo, Drow Ranger. These heroes all require a lot of heroes to be able to deal with them. And if you get them in the later stage, it can be very difficult.
What do you guys think about it? The other thing I like about the Lina is it matches up well if LGD were looking toward the Terrorblade, which is still in the pool. Matches fairly well against that hero.
It's a nice pick for them because it's kind of flexible. They can put it mid depending on what matchup LGD picks, or they'll just put it on Jarix. And I think if they
We've seen 3 Wyvern, right?
Yeah, they would put Seb on Wyvern, and they'll have the Wyvern Lina lane, which is also very good in the game. You have this Wyvern out that sets up this Lina stun. Like the team fight is pretty insane.
Okay, assuming here that LGD are going to ban the Bloodseeker?
It's between the Bloodseeker and the Ursa, right?
Yeah.
A lot of ALC teams want to get this Ursa out of the pool because they feel like it's the one hero mid where the lane's very difficult to play for the Alchemist, and then a steamrolling Ursa who gets an early Roshan that ALC can't contest can kind of take over the map. But yeah, the Bloodseeker, LGD, obviously, they have picked the Bloodseeker into the ALC, so they have some respect for that counter, right?
Yes. It is the only time I can remember at TI that I've seen a level 10 against a level 5 mid.
That was a showing from PSG LGD.
Hey, OG also has the Monkey King, right? They have a lot of options right now.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, the Monkey, I mean, it's very, very similar against the ALC.
Yeah, it's a hero that relies on stacks. You can force him out of the lane, and then when he goes to jungle, we've seen time and time again, this Thompson Monkey King, he will follow you to the jungle. You are not safe.
OG banned Jug.
Huh.
It's not a hero we've seen a lot at this tournament, and it's not necessarily even the best matchup against something like PL in the late game. You can kind of get there with like some Battle Fury, Mjolnir, Blade Fury talents, but ultimately, you can also get kited, especially with like Wyvern, BKB piercing spells, things like this.
I mean, to be fair, it was one of Ame's best heroes last season, but he hasn't shown it nearly as much.
Maybe their thought process is like one of the few heroes that can like sustain through this spam lane, this Lina Wyvern lane.
Okay.
With the healing ward, and at like some point in the game, this Alchemist is just going to siege high ground, right? And they're going to have healing ward behind this guy.
Yeah.
So maybe this is what they're thinking.
And there's your Monkey King. That was a very good call.
Yeah. Taking that out, they've had to deal with it earlier.
So there is the Ursa left in the pool.
Yeah.
But I don't know if OG's lineup looks amazing with it. I will say it's a decent Ursa game in the sense of he's good against the ALC in the game, and he's good against this Phoenix Egg if they want another killer. but looking at their lineup, they already have ways to kill the egg right now.
Yeah,
and there's
that's
the Brewmaster.
so sick. That is such a sick
I was actually
pick.
wondering if they would take it on that Phoenix slot, because we've seen, for example, this Venge Brew lane is something Liquid play, for example. This lane's actually decently strong. They might even throw the Phoenix down there, depending on what they want to play 4-5, because Venge Weaver's also a strong lane.
You were talking about that from the middle of the draft, and it matches up so well against some of those melee laning counters against the Alchemist. It can just take the Bloodseeker the ear side of the fight. The Morphling!
Morphling!
Oh my god.
I forgot about that, Thompson.
Oh my god.
Both Thompson and
Yes.
Anna will play this Morphling.
Yeah.
So.
Who's it going to be, do you think?
It's going to be Thompson mid, right?
Yeah.
Mid morph is a Dalek.
Yeah, I think it depends. Like, if they want to play this morph as more of a scaling morph,
I like Anna more for Thompson.
Yeah.
You think Anna will play mid?
I think when Thompson plays this morph, it's more of like this tempo controller. You go like Treads, Dragonlance, running in there, stealing spells, almost like a Rubik or something.
More like,
like a team fighter. Not to say he can't play a hard carry morph as well. It's just different style.
All right, well, some exciting picks once again as we get ready for Game 3. We have a chance to hear from Pastorell with Casey.
Hello!
Again.
We meet again. How are you feeling about this draft compared to the last time we chatted?
Oh, it was a disaster last one. It's like the Conca pick, like I saw it too late and we already banned and it was hard. We lost 3 lanes. Yeah, it happens from time to time, but now, no, definitely is better.
Speaking of bans, why the Juggernaut ban?
Want the Juggernaut ban? Well, you are thinking about like the heroes. It's hard to tell, you know, but it's hard to tell because I don't want to give information.
Quite all right. That might be the smart move on your part.
I'm gonna be honest, man. It's hard to answer these questions like without revealing. So I don't know.
I don't want you to reveal anything that you don't feel comfortable.
Because he makes Battle Fury and hits everyone. It's a good answer. Yeah.
Sure, I'll take it.
Pretty good answer.
Good luck to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastorell, answering what he can as we go into Game 3. The series is tied 1-1 in this grand final, and we'll return to Odie, Pixel, Fogged, and Merlini for this match.
Thank you very much, Joey. Yes, Game 3 now between PSG, LGD, and OG as we're seeing both teams changing it up once again. Different lineups, different strategies. We're seeing the AUK lineup from LGD that we've seen them do time and time again. And OG once again with a bit of that OG magic. It is the mid Thompson Morphling. We've seen it before. We've seen sort of its ability once it hits level 4 to get these sort of kills in the 1v1 matchup. What do we like?
Whew, I like a lot of things coming out here. This Alchemist pick, he's got Aghanims aplenty to be giving around. I also really like this Brewmaster pick with that Venge. The benefit that you can actually do with this, because it's not only just about like this, it's like the team fights. You know, that Brewmaster wants to go in and start the fights for your team, which gives you a lot more liberty in the back, but you can actually set up some pretty decent solo kills with the Brew and just a wave of terror coming through. You actually amplify the damage a lot, and it's a way to protect their egg with this Brew. So it's a nice way that they set up their defenses as they prioritize their whole draft, while on OG's side, they've got a typical OG draft. It's a little bit unique, it's a bit different looking, but it's their style.
The Morphling, I think, has been first banned against them in a couple of games and kind of forgotten, as we haven't seen it too much on the main stage, but they are incredibly good with the Zero.
Yeah.
I kind of forgot that that was in Thompson's repertoire.
It's kind of cool that I see LGD also switching, then they're putting Amaze on this Weaver. So we've seen Chalice playing a lot. Of course, now because the Brewmaster's pick, he's going to be playing that one. But a lot of times when they have played this Alchemist, they put that Weaver off lane and they picked a different type of carry.
Decent amount of damage there to Anna done on the bottom lane as he's unable to take the rune. FY does grab that bottom one. As PSG LGD will get both down there on the bottom lane. As Chalice is up, we'll be able to secure the second down there.
Look at Jerax right now.
He wants that courier. We saw him try earlier with the Shaker. We'll see if he has a bit of a better time with this leaner movement. And how prepared are PSG LGD? He did do this before, as I say, on the Shaker. Are they watching that mid lane? They're not. He's got it. Jerax taking the Ring of Protection and Salve away from Somnus in that mid lane matchup.
That's actually massive right now, because this is where Thompson can play and try to bully this Alchemist, as he has very, very little regen. It's actually a very smart move when you're trying to play these heroes that want to lane dominate versus an Alchemist as soon as you get some levels on.
And as Ben said, there's already been a lot of teams that have been very scared of the Thompson Morphling. So we'll see how this mid lane goes. Obviously, last game, Somnus on the Kunko was able to absolutely destroy Thompson's Invoker in that 1v1. And for the whole of the game, Thompson had a very tough time. So we'll see if he's able to bring it back up and perform to the same level that he could do in game 1.
He does have a lot of armor to kind of deal with that physical damage, and it looks like, yeah, maybe is going to be out of luck for quite some time. Not really sure how he's supposed to get too much CS out of this at this point.
Can we expect to sort of see PSG LGD send someone else mid, or are you already sort of hurting the lane even more if you're having someone sit behind the Alchemist this early?
I mean, if someone dies, you can.
Yeah.
Other than that, not really.
He actually just goes to base. Somnus TP'd back to get some regen. That's pretty huge for OG right at the start.
The power of the Courier Snipe. They've got to watch out for it, LGD, in these games. We know that Jerax likes to go for that rotation.
He's still ahead in net worth, though, over the Morphling, despite all that, just because of the bounty runes at the start.
Just Alchemist things.
And we'll see how these side lanes go. Is there sort of a particular 2-on-2 here that you feel is going to have quite a difference? Are we going to see one of these side lanes really get ahead early?
I really like the power of the Brewmaster versus the PL. It's just really annoying to play PL because you're going to get Drunken Haze nonstop. You're going to get hit all the time, and you can't really counteract it because you've got these Fire Spirits on you constantly. As Ana already getting pressured.
He's already used the Doppler with the dive. FY, he's got the damage onto Ana, and there's your first blood. As you're talking about how nice that lane is, also top lane. LGD finding the kill here for Arme as they get on top of Jerax. So the mid lane maybe suffering a little bit, but the side lanes, they're getting the kills, PSG LGD.
Yeah, you can buy a stick as a PL, but you're not really going to be able to get too much CS. He's already getting harassed down heavily.
I mean, Chalice didn't even go for the haze. He just went for the brawler right-click build to just push him down because there's not really support here helping him. They know the lean is top. They know Chen has to wait for that first creep wave to spawn, or first neutral creeps to spawn up, and that actually does clip.
And I guess this is sort of the power having such a strong lane against the PL as well, right? We can expect Notel. He's sort of pressured to really hover around this area. It's very hard for him to make early movements, right?
Yeah, he has to stand. Look at FY. FY is actually every single time rolling forward and blocking that hard camp, and he jumps pretty low. But that's really important to do versus these Chens. When you know it's a Chen trying to protect your safe laner, just non-stop block that camp. And they've even committed 2 sentries to open it up.
Top lane, a bit of an attempt onto Jerax. Arme backs away. The Light Strike Array is there from Jerax down onto X-Nova. As they'll keep the Venge pushed back. Turns with a wave of terror, but he's got the stick charges, X-Nova.
He lost the self. Jerax did. Lina, pretty low armor hero. We don't see her in the support role too often, but she's sitting at negative armor with that just level 2 wave of terror on her.
Arme bugs out onto Seb. Will not dive for it. Knows that Jerax has Light Strike Array back off cooldown. And that mid lane, of course, with the way that we saw it start, continuing to go strongly in Thompson's favor. He's getting revenge for sort of what we saw go the other way around in game 2, with Somnus having that sizable lead. This time it's Thompson that's in charge.
And it looks like at least No-Tail does have one of the best creeps to work with, the Satyr. He doesn't have access to the other camp because of that Sentry Ward, but he also will get a troll.
Thompson's going to get unfortunate there with the rune spawn. He's going to be down on the bottom lane. Top lane again, set up onto Jerax with the magic missile. Can't even get the light strike out. The damage is too much from LGD as they go towards Seb at the same time down bottom. Chalice gets chased down by No-Tail and Ana. Seb will survive. But 1-for-1. And obviously down bottom, OG getting that kill onto the core, onto Chalice. And getting that extra bit of money to Ana, who already, despite sort of the aggression, he's not suffering too much in CS on this bottom lane. He's trading evenly with Farmer Chalice, as we can see. 23 for 5 on the PL compared to the 23 for 1 on the Brewmaster.
So important to get that, that Satyr creep like Ben was mentioning. You just add that little more HP regen, it just solidifies your lane much harder. As we do have those bounties coming out, super important for LGD to get those and OG to contest them, as there's the Alchemist in the game.
See Ana already heading over to FY, but FY is able to grab it in time. Takes it before Ana's able to get his hands on it, and the collapse slow did connect as Chalice chases down Ana. They dive forward with FY as well. No-Tail, can he do anything to get them off Ana? Able to rush off towards the creeps on the side. The Fire Spirit again though. FY with the perfect placement of the Fire Spirits getting the kill. We'll see No-Tail chase down FY here. Is there any way he can make it away? Seems to have that slightly favorable movement speed, but he's into the creep wave, will fall, so FY does go down in return, but we're really seeing FY just push this hero to the limits and cause a lot of issues for Ana.
And I think Seb died on the top lane during that bounty skirmish too. There's just going to be so much contest there because of the Alchemist, especially when you're this far behind in lane. You really need those bounties to help get you back.
Yeah. And the top lane, right, the Wyvern and Lina, you were mentioning how the low armor is there. They're both very low armor. So as soon as they do get hit up by any type of control,
they just got
that damage is just
they die so quickly.
Yeah, I mean, he does have the Ring of Protection on the Lina, but I mean, that's just not enough. Especially with the Swarm coming out, I presume that the Vengeful Spear is also going to get a medallion at some point in this game.
Mid. No-Tail walking pretty deep forward into tower. They want to try to keep the siege creep alive. They want to put as much pressure on it in these first few minutes.
Certainly getting a decent amount of damage done, but at the same time up top Arme. Looking towards Seb and Jerax having to play a lot safer now. They've given their lives up a couple of times on this top lane as Ame gets more and more mid lane. No-Tail, he's actually going to take out again. FY
and
comes in.
Both creeps die as well. FY just got so much experience in mid, as his Alchemist is jungling freely.
This FY Phoenix looking to be off to a fantastic start from bottom lane to mid lane.
I think they were really hoping to get that tower with the Chen creeps, with that one siege creep still alive, but turns out in the worst possible way. And Seb also has an Aquila, so just really all out gunning for armor in this lane.
So with the smoke, we'll get a ward down. So we'll have a bit more better information on the movements as FY will reveal himself to Jax, diving forward, playing aggressive, getting himself straight on top of him. Does get hit by the Light Strike array, but he's chasing down Seb and No-Tail coming in for the side. They'll look towards X-Nova, but X-Nova knows there's no disable. He'll TP out. Another Light Strike from Jax is going to be missed as Ame jukes it out, but it doesn't matter. Thompson chases down, gets the kill on Ame, and now zaps forward and bursts down FY as well. Thompson with that small rotation away from the mid lane, picking up a double kill on top of already pretty much free farm that he's had in this mid lane for the first 7.5 minutes.
Level 8. Alchemist is almost hitting level 6, so we see that big advantage coming through, in particular from that courier snipe.
And this is exactly what SVG was talking about with the style of morphling that he plays. He's not necessarily the laking carry. He's out there to create space, put a lot of pressure on towers. And
look at the damage he just hit to FY. He's already sort of FY losing 2/3 of his health.
Yeah, Thompson's just such a unique player, right? He has these different ways to look at the game, and with this Morphling, he loves playing it kind of like that Rubik. You're just all about trying to steal spells, turn into other heroes, and use that benefit to put as much pressure as possible early.
FY's got to be careful there. The Penitence was on him. Thompson couldn't quite get in range for the burst as FY dives away. But this game as well, right, when you can sort of consider the Morphling, isn't there going to be a point where it's rather hard for LGD's lineup to actually kill a Morphling that's got a good head start?
they don't really have any instant disables for him, so it looks like he should be able to pop his attribute gain at any time. I think all the stuns are going to be projectile stuns.
Yeah,
Maybe
the only one
that gets a blink.
Yeah, that's the big one that they'll have to worry about, right?
Yep. But that's going to be a long time considering the start that maybe has had and this T1 falling.
So, OG, 8.5 minutes in here, taking that mid-tier 1 tower. Thompson, of course, still sitting at the top of the net worth.
Look at OG's wards. They know they need to just not let this Alchemist jungle block the Ancients, block the hard camp, get vision of the other jungle camps as well. Just try to keep tabs on this Alchemist at all times to keep the pressure going.
And he's using a body block with the Satyr camp to block this.
Yeah, look at this.
Bottom lane. They will find out the Primal Split being used to set up to allow FY to come in and offer his help for the cleanup. Another kill onto Ana. Top lane, Ame caught up by the Light Strike array. Do they have the burst? They don't. Ame's able to time-lapse himself back to safety.
Primal Split's going to have a really big impact on this game, of course, versus the PL to remove those illusions with your Wind Panda, but also you can dispel the send back from the Chen once we get to that point later on, which could become significant.
You can also Cyclone the Cold Embrace heroes too. There's a lot of things that you can do with the Brute this game. Get rid of the PL illusions. It's tough.
They have fun No-Tail top, X-Nova and Ame catching out No-Tail as No-Tail tried to come over into the jungle and find himself some creeps.
They're spreading themselves very thin. They want to control the entire jungle of the Alchemist, but I don't think they can control both.
So they get Ame here. Ame yet to have the time that's back online, but the Shikuchi does save him. At the same time, FY again getting the kills as he's in with the Supernova on top of Seb and finds the Wyvern.
2 for 2 bounties. LGD's all right with that, as they're 1,000 away from that relic on a level 7 Alchemist.
I mean, they don't have a Vessel, though, on the side of OG. I really think you need a Vessel to kill the Alchemist, especially with the Phoenix in the game. And I think Lina was the one that wanted to build one, but because she's had such a rough time, she doesn't even have her urn yet. So, I mean, Alchemist does have a bad time, but so does everyone else, and PL's game is not particularly great.
Chalice, she's coming in the top there with the Haste Root running down No-Tail. No-Tail, he's trying to get out. The Light Strike array from Jerax will not save him as Chalice has already done the damage. Ana does manage to get himself on top of FY, because FY used the Supernova down bottom, doesn't have it back up. So Ana finishes off the Phoenix, goes back towards Chalice. Jerax finds the Light Strike array. Again, Chalice, he doesn't have Primal Split back, but he has got backup in the form of Ame and X-Nova. Ana still in the midst of it all, trying to look towards X-Nova, but Ana's been left alone. They know which one the real one is. Seb is there, but the Winter's Curse! Oh, he's actually going to be able to keep Ana alive for now. Ana turns with the Spirit Lance. They get the kill onto onto Chalice. And a doppelganger's down to the low ground, but Arme's quick with a chase with that Shikuchi. Looks towards Anna with a cold embrace from Seb. Keeping Anna safe against the right click. The Shikuchi damage alone, not enough. Xnova trying to get in range for that stun, but Jarex, Light Strike comes out. They do get the kill on Anna, though, PSG LGD, but they'll lose Xnova for it. Arme has to Shikuchi away as well.
Oh, great swap, though, coming in there, saving his core.
And all the time, Somnus just farming this right side of the map. Thompson is trying to do his damn best to stop maybe from getting these Grievous beat stacks up, but...
Arme. So he can find himself a bit more here. Jarex does have the Laguna Blade available. Cold embrace from Seb will allow Jarex to heal back up.
They committed so many wards. OG has 4 option wards on the map, and I still think maybe is going, you know, he already has his relic, so I'm not exactly sure how effective it has, but they see him, but they can't really stop him because they just have so much pressure in the lanes. Still, his timing is going to be pretty decent. He is still below the Morphling in net worth.
Yeah, Thompson's been farming very, very well, and also looking for those aggressive plays. 95 last hits and 29 denies as he constantly is walking up onto those high grounds looking for some plays, but Jarex just melts.
Yeah, he was going for the D ward there, but the quick wraparound from PSG LGD catches him off guard. Bottom lane. TP's coming in as No-Tail was trying to put some pressure onto the tier 1 tower. Does have the backup of Thompson as Thompson comes through. Looks at FY, but FY gets the supernova in time. It doesn't matter. The attack speed from Thompson too good as he punches down the sun. They've got the Winter's Curse holding Arme in place. He does have time lapse, but the stun comes through. Thompson has the control as he picks up the double kill. Thompson going up and up in this game.
Great heroes to replicate.
Radiant's top tower.
Yeah, he's going to have so many options, honestly. I was trying to look through all of them because I've seen him, he has taken, a few times I've seen him take the morph targets allies too, and the morph duration when he's played it. He's all about just making those plays around the map.
Yeah, I think stealing Concoction is great, stealing Venge for that huge damage is also great. Weaver for the Shikuchi, there's just so many things that he can do.
Yeah, and he can he has a lot of ways to if he does turn into the Phoenix, and the Weaver, he has so many ways to get in and out of the fights over and over again and save his waveform. As the Radiance comes out at a pretty damn early timing, 13 minutes after getting just pushed to the jungle.
Absolutely, yeah, considering the start the Somnus had, he's certainly recovered in that aspect. His bottom lane, they look to set up onto Thompson. They do get the magic missile off before he starts his ship, but he's still able to do so after the stun wears off. He's building the HP up. Seb, can he do anything to help Thompson here? Thompson tries for the TP, but he won't make it. The damage from LGD enough to take him down, as now Seb potentially in trouble too, as he looks to get himself back underneath the tower. Jarex goes for the light strike, but Arme keeps his distance. Seb with the self-cold embrace. He's being sent back as well, but they kill him off in time. He's not getting home tonight, and neither's No-Tail, surely. The magic missile from Xnova. They've still got the primal split chasing down the Chen. The stun comes through. Light Striker Raven Jarex will not hold back LGD, as PSG LGD find 3 members of OG.
Woo. Close to getting a Cyclone off, but no cigar.
The overall team fight in LGD is just a bit stronger. Even when they don't have their Alchemist getting a Vine, their 4-man is very, very potent versus the 4-man of OG. They need Thompson to pretty much be alive and well inside of all those fights, because the PL can't really get involved with this team yet until he's got that Diffusal Blade finished up.
And he just seems very overwhelming as well from LGD. They've got so many heroes just looking to get on top of sort of the vulnerable heroes like this Lina, like the Chen on OG. You've got this Weaver getting on top of you with Shikuchi. You've got the Brew just charging in immediately. You've got FY diving on top of you. So many ways that they can exploit the vulnerabilities of OG's heroes. The Supernova comes out. Jarex tries to turn, but he's in trouble. Arme's there with a wraparound. Can they kill the Supernova in time? They can. Seb gets the final touch through. As they get the trade, Xnova's there as well, but so's Thompson, so Xnova's got to be careful. Zip forward from Thompson. He's got the physical damage here. One more touch will do it. There's the zap, the stun, buying time for him to close the gap. Xnova's still alive into the trees, but he'll come back out and Thompson will find it.
And 2 for 2 bounties, so No-Tail is at least prioritizing that, but No-Tail is actually only level 5 in this game, and the next lowest level is level 8. So he's not really contributing too much into the fights beside his creeps at all. Doesn't have that heal available to help them either, as Somnus continues just to farm, and the Blink Dagger is, of course, that next choice of item, that lockdown that they could actually catch on that Morphling if he's able to blink right on top of him.
And a lot of pressure will be on Seb then on this Wyvern to sort of make the big plays with the Winter's Curse, with the Cold Embrace, when they have this Alchemist threat just jumping on top of hero after hero with the Concoction. As top lane No-Tail been found by Arme. TPs will come through. There's no way to save him. No-Tail gets taken out by Arme. Thompson turning into the Weaver there, seeing if he could chase down a support kill in return, but PSG LGD, they're already out of this top lane.
really such a lack of control in this game coming out also from OG's lineup. They have to set up. We've seen them do this before, of course, in the group stages with the Wyvern, but they're really going to need some big curses coming up for Seb in the mid game soon.
It's been really tough for them because LGD's heroes are just way more tanky.
Yeah. Double sentries. They
So
get the
this
vision for the
setup.
Winter's Curse. They have that setup available. Jarrett's clarity up, so he has enough mana for the Laguna Blade. Gets the kill, and now X-Nova tried to come in to look for some sort of a swap play or go for the TP out. Won't make it. They'll get to a Chalice. In with the counterplay. Jumps in with a clap. Bursts down Jarrett, but they're on top of him. He's out of mana. He can't cast the Primal Split. He's trying to run himself away, but they chase him down. OG get 3.
That Diffusal Blade came in right on time. Looked like he didn't have enough mana to cast it, to finish it.
Yeah, he jumps in, gets the clap, and then there's just too many illusions. They hit him really quickly one each, because you heard him do the noise, too. He's like 3 of, and then just stops because of the mana burn.
And they're into the pit now as well. 16 minutes in. Still the net worth standing very even due to this Somnus Alchemist still sitting at the top. But Thompson keeping himself very close to the farmer, Somnus. As this Roshan will go the way of OG, Thompson grabs the Aegis. And will continue to have a very good start to this game at 17 minutes.
I believe he has a full Manta style on top, too, with that Dragon Lance. This is a very, very strong Morphling. And with this Manta, too, he can play around even easier. That Venge stun is going to be a lot harder to land, so disjointing the Alchemist is a different thing, but versus that Venge can definitely work out.
Yeah, you mentioned OG not having that much control, but I think LGD are going to have control issues versus this Morphling in particular.
Yep.
On bottom lane, FY. You get that final Fire Spirit, so Jarex will be able to earn himself back up, but we're seeing sort of just the solo potential of FY going around the map with this Spirit Vessel. It's a very dangerous map for sort of the supports of OG to be out on alone.
Do you like that Jarex is going to be just going back for the Yule Scepter rather than finishing the Spirit Vessel, Ben?
I think Spirit Vessel is just really important for them, but at the same time, Thompson is in the back line, and he's not really going to get that much support from the Lina, so as long as he stays alive, he can maybe do enough damage to kill this Weaver like we just saw. So. Well, it looks like maybe is going to start to try and join the fight.
Thompson tries to get in here. Just touch attribute shift into the strength, so X-Nova and Chalice will both back away.
He's putting up the pressure on, though. He's forcing back 2 heroes of LGD, but LGD seems okay with this. I mean, their Alchemist is farming, their Weaver's still farming top as well.
Yeah, he does have that blink, but let's see which time he deems is the perfect moment for him to go in.
Mid lane Chalice pops the Primal Split, finds himself no tail, send Thompson up into the air. X-Nova's coming in from the side. Can they get more members of PSG LGD in to look for the fight, though? Thompson's going to be fine, as he's pretty much up to full HP down bottom at the same time. The eggs actually come out from FY as they're beating into it. Can they kill him off in time? They can't. FY gets the Supernova successfully off. He's playing around with the 3 of them here. Jarrett tries for the TP out. Oh, but he ticks down at base. FY gets the kill on Jarrett, and he gets the kill on Seb. FY.
What? He's level 12 so early that they couldn't actually kill off the egg because of that.
Goodness. Level 13 now off the back of that one in mid lane. Thompson turns into Chalice, jumps in with a clap. The swap's there, but it won't save him. Doesn't disjoint the right click as Thompson claims Chalice's life. Maybe they can find more as well. They'll close in onto Nova. The stun from Thompson, buying time for him to come in. Back into Chalice's brew he goes, and a quick slap finishes off another.
Somnus had no interest in even trying to help his teammate. Just continues to farm the creeps, doesn't pop the chemical rage, nothing. Ame either, just putting that pressure on that top.
Yeah, I think he wants to try and surprise Thompson, but not when he has the Aegis.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
It's bottom lane, Anna getting the space to put some pressure on. At the same time, up top, we saw Army starting to do a decent amount of damage to the top tier 1 tower. Chalice finally having that Midas online. This top lane, Jarex and Seb looking to see if they can find some sort of a setup. They do in fact, have the Winter's Curse and the Laguna Blade, so they can look for that burst combination if Arme steps forward too far.
That Midas pickup seems pretty... I actually kind of like it, because he can keep his levels up, because he's the big playmaker on this team to make space for that Weaver and the Alchemist still, so he wants to be able to stay getting boosted up in experience in particular, not wanting to show and farm in lanes. And the stun actually connects on Ana, keeping out bottom.
Same time up top, Arme's trying to go towards Jarex, but Jarex has the backup of Seb. It's a half kill for Arme to find. The Johanna God comes out, and Ana, he's falling, he's down, he gets taken out. They get on top of him, they find the PL, PSG, LGD. Can they find anything more? No tail. Being chased here by Somnus. Somnus will turn his attention towards the Mud Golems, continue to keep those stacks high of the Grievel's Greed. As Thompson instantly looks to put the pressure on mid, trying to draw PSG LGD's attention away from that chase down bottom.
LGD are just doing an excellent job of fighting away from the Morphling, away from this Aegis, because they know they can't kill him twice. It's just simply not worth it for them. They'd rather go for the squishy targets. All these supports are super easy to kill on the side of OG.
The instant split.
Yeah, it does force the split out here from Chalice. TPs are coming through as well. Topson does have Seb close by. The stun comes out with the primal split. There's the cold embrace from Seb. He's got that ether lens, that extra range to get in. FY's coming in from the side with the sunray, that percent damage. Topson pops the Manta. He's still fine. This primal split struggling to deal with the Topson. It's Topson. He's fine. In fact, now he's looking to fight back. Goes straight in onto Chalice. There's the swap. The Winter's Curse holds the two of them at the side. Topson looks to Chalice. The missed chance. Keeping Chalice alive, but the Splinter Blast is there. They get Chalice. Topson back into the brew. He's got to be careful. The cold embrace from Seb's there. Healing him up. Topson back into the Morphling form. He's fine. Somnus has now turned up to the fight, though. With the Radiance, chases down Seb. Jarax tries for the light strike with the sidelines. FY with the Supernova. Topson, he wants to try and take down the sub, but the concoction's there from Somnus. They'll get the Aegis out of his hands. They do lose the Aegis. Can they kill him a second time? They're on top of him. He's able to waveform down to the bottom. Anna's there as well on the PL, ready to try and offer his attention to the fight. Topson teeping away. They have no way to cancel it. Topson will escape. But overall, PSG LGD able to take a successful fight there. FY just getting off that Supernova as it looked like Jarax was about to finish it, but Jarax, he was killed just in time by LGD to keep FY safe.
And they got a stun out on the Morphling. He went for a build without any Lincoln, so he's actually quite vulnerable to this Alchemist stun, and maybe doing a really good job of just waiting for that perfect moment. The Curse was down, most of the spells were down, and Morphling's Replicate was also down. I think that's super important to wait for as the Alchemist in this game. So what do you think of the Brewmaster going for Ags? Normally it's what, like Radiance first, and then maybe if someone else has Radiance, you go for Auras, but he's going for the Ags, at least on his quick buy.
I can't imagine he finishes that, right? He's got an Alchemist
He's
on
got
his
an
team.
Alchemist.
But I think Vengeance is more important.
Yeah, there is a lot of good Aghanim upgrades on LGD's lineup.
I think he's actually the worst of the other four.
That actually that's a good point. Maybe that's why he just wants to try to get it at this timing so that he can use his abilities while he's in his split as well.
He's really good about using the Dispel. I think that's what separates the good brews versus the very, very awesome brews.
Intriguing.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. You just don't see Ags early that much.
Maybe because the auras, the thing is, like, he's got a Venge, but the Venge isn't really farming. We've seen the Venges go Vlad's a lot of the times, but with the Brewmaster, you would think he might go for those type of auras in this game, but...
Yeah, I thought like Venge would go more like Solar and Glimmer, and then the Brewmaster would go for the Vlads and AC.
Yeah.
That's generally what we see.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
He's still saving his gold, though. He hasn't actually bought any of the components.
Yeah.
No side, Chalice. Straight on top of Nodetail. Nodetail pops the hand of the god, but the Primal Split is out. They're ready to fight here, LGD. We'll see if OG can get themselves out of it. Nodetail's going to fall. Anas charges in straight away on top of Nova, and with the Diffuser Blade, he's doing a lot of damage to Sunray. From FY, though, keeping Sunray alive, but there's the counterplay. Topson giving some sun-on-sun action here as he dives forward, does get caught out by the concoction, but he's back into the Morphling form. Arme coming in for the side. They pop the Supernova, but Anna straight on top of the egg. Can he kill off FY in time? No, he cannot. The Supernova successful. Anna gets caught out by the stun. And again, PSG LGD coming out on top of these fights as FY sort of against all odds. He keeps getting the Supernova off.
Did he miss a few times because of the Radiance? It looked like I think I saw a couple misses coming in there.
I mean, FY is just playing out of his mind in this game.
Yeah, this is one of the best Phoenixes I feel we've seen here at TI. That's bottom lane Arme. Look at the Seb. Seb's underneath the tower. The Chalice is coming in. Do they want to dive for this? They certainly do. Chalice jumps in. As the TPM will be cancelled, Seb will be left to die. As PSG LGD get away with the kill. 32-19 now, favoring LGD in a 7K net worth advantage. Somnus now climbing up a healthy 5K ahead of the Morphlings farm.
It seems like LGD's every single time they want to take the fights, they have their ultis available. They have the Brew Split. They also have that Supernova, and they're doing a great job of protecting it. While on OG, their team fight's not as great. It's a lot harder for them to actually get all those spells off. They need the Curse to be very perfect for the Lina to get the follow-ups.
And originally, we thought that Lina would be a pretty good counter to the Phoenix, you know, long range here with a lot of attack speed, but when she's thrown into this support position, she really just can't survive long enough to do enough damage with this egg, and it's been popping every single fight.
As 4 bounties go the way of PSG LGD with that Alchemist.
They want to find Topson here with this jump concoction. Can they find it in time? No, Topson with the Manta Sal, and he's out of there. The Magic Missile connects. Oh, he did start to morph. In fact, he's gone into the bench. That's going to cost him his life. As he morphs into X-Nova, doesn't have that attribute shift going, of course, anymore, as they can burst him down and get Topson off the map for 70 seconds.
That's such a big momentum swing for LGD. They claim 4 bounties. Immediately, right after that, they kill the most important hero on the map.
does go for the illusion here. Anna's still alive for now, but they find the magic missile. There's the Winter's Curse. Seb trying to buy the time for Anna to get out of there, and it will be enough. Anna standing in for the side. Does he want to go back in? FY dives in. Supernova's out. Cold Embrace is actually going to cause issues for Big Daddy No-Tail as he's stuck underneath the egg. Somnus on the side with the BKB. He's going to be able to keep himself alive against the Diffusal Blade. Damage of Anna. Anna on the retreat. Doppelganger's back up in a second. We'll see if there's any way Somnus can try and chase as Anna goes for the TP. He's ticking down to the Radiance. The Urn's on him, but he's back in base. He will be fine. The TP off just in time, so Anna will live.
Middle tower has fallen.
But again, they're getting away with so much now in these fights. We're starting to see Somnus really getting involved in each and every one of these team plays, and they're breaking further and further ahead, PSG LGD, as Arme looks to finish off another tower up top as well.
Yeah, there's just such an overwhelming amount of team fight now for LGD in comparison. The curse is there, it's decent, but they don't have a follow-up. The Lena's not able to get in position for it.
And Topsun was dead the whole time.
And
they took a fight when Topsun was dead at the very, very start of the fight. And yeah, the curse was very, very good, but absolutely no follow-up. And Ana, he can only do so much at this point. His net worth is roughly half the Aux.
And he does commit. He's got it complete now. 26 minutes in. That's got to be, as you say, something that we don't see every day on Brewmasters in this meta.
It's pretty cool with the Earth Panda getting the Thunderclap too. It's going to be easier for them to find the real PL in a lot of situations. Kind of neat.
Being able to Drunken Haze, perhaps, when the egg comes out. I mean, it does offer a lot of value. The problem is, it's generally just too hard to use.
It is very tough.
3 more spells or 2 more spells, you already have enough to worry about. Well,
Somnus. He's in towards the pit. He jumps in, gets on top of No-Tail. Cold Embrace will buy him some time, but the rest of LGD's on their way over. No-Tail's gone. As they were looking towards the pit now. But OG's got to be careful around this area, as PSG LGD will be more than happy to fight with the sun nearly back online. Concoction from Topsun on towards Alme, but he has the Lincoln Sphere. Time lapses to the side.
This is a very hard area for OG to take a fight around this Rush Pit versus this Phoenix, who's already been getting Supernovas off nonstop, has a full Shiva's Guard on top too, almost level 18 too, and a full Octarine now for the Alchemist. They're smoking. They're looking for a fight. Level 20 on Alchemist too for that Concoction talent, or the damage on the Concoction.
And everyone's trying their best to help with the egg. They can swap heroes out. They can try and stun them as much as they can. And with the Shivas, if they commit for the egg, I think they all die.
I think so, especially if he hits level 18.
So close.
It's going to be 3 more hits. They've already been suffering to really take that one down. The courier at least kills. The courier gets killed there by some PL illusions, of course, for OG.
Can OG get towards the pit? Somnus straight in on top of them. They try for the Manta dodge, but it still connects. They do get the Winter's Curse down on top of X-Nova. So X-Nova gets beaten down by Somnus. They'll get the Light Strike off, but Jarex is dead. Topsun's on top of. He's diving away back into the Morph form. Arme's hot on the chase. They've left behind Anna as Anna taken out. LGD, they've found 3. They're looking for more. Arme continue to chase down Topsun. You've got Somnus finding Seb on the side. Cold Embrace is only going to buy him some time as Somnus has another Concoction out and ready to go. PSG LGD finding 4. And OG just seemingly unable to deal with the pressure, the pace that they're playing with as they're into the pit, and there's nothing that OG can do about this one. 18k advantage.
That's exactly what Fog was talking about. Like, you can't fight that around the pit. They were clumped up way too much. Yule's dodged a stun, but it also just hit the Morphling, and that's the way you started the fight, with your Morphling getting very long duration stun by Alg.
And they didn't even have to use it. They didn't even use the Supernova. It's still available. The curse coming out onto the Vengeful Spirit, so they kill the Venge, but it doesn't really do too much for them. It's this game really slipping out of OG's hands.
Did you see the Brew Axe? Did he use all those spells?
I saw a clap. I saw an extra clap. I don't know if I saw a Drunken Brawler or a Drunken Haze. It's very hard to see all that in the midst of everything. I definitely saw a clap, though.
That's a crazy item choice to go for, though. I never would have thought to go Axe at this point. But, I mean, their forte is team fight, and OG seems to be like, oh, yeah, maybe we can win team fight if they outplay him in some sense, but Chalice has just been destroying them with this ult. The PL also can't do anything. They can find out which one it is almost immediately with the help of the Brew.
Yeah, I mean, that's Ana ran in and just died instantly in that last fight. He could not contribute much to his team at all.
Oh, he's a little bit deep here. They just get the Light Strike onto Arme, but FY with the Sunray just lasering him down. Gets the kill at the same time. No-Tail falling Topsun. He's trying to fight back here, but there's a lot of backup from PSG LGD. He does manage to burst down X-Nova. But Chalice, Arme, and FY, they're hot on the chase for Topsun. He's trying to retreat. Is there any way his teammates can save him? It looks to be pretty much alone. He'll turn with the stun onto Chalice, but Chalice eats the cheese. Topsun's up to the high ground, goes for the TP, the Sunray. Somnus in with a blink, finds the kill.
He's just, every time too, he just gets Spirit Vesseled, and then Spirit Vesseled, and then Spirit Vesseled again. FY every single time being able to find him. And they have so many ways to close the gap on him now with all this items and this advantage.
And Somnus, he's starting a little earlier sort of on the Aghanim purchases than we've seen from some of the Alchemists. Well, I said he is incredibly farmed across the moment. 27,000 net worth on the Alchemist. The first act nearly on the way.
He's 607. There's nothing threatening him anyway. Might as well just give some other help to his teammates.
And Thompson forced to buy back now as LGD up to the high ground onto this tier 3 tower. At the same time, Ana up top will find a tier 2, but mid lane, Somnus goes for the stun onto Thompson. The tier 3 tower being beaten down by Somnus. The primal split as well from Chalice helping them push onwards. They Cyclone up Seb on the side. Arme, FY looking towards Notel. Notel's gone. The Chen falls as LGD claim themselves the mid melee racks. As they'll now start to back away. Top lane, Ana is hiding. X-Nova's coming, TP's coming through as well. We'll see if they can find Ana. The magic missile juked off nicely. The Manta style dodge from Ana's there.
They know he's up there,
but Arme, he's hunting. The doppelganger down, won't remove the bug. He goes for the TP out. They've got anywhere to stop it. They have X-Nova with the swap, cancelling the TP. Ana's stuck up here. Arme will continue to play around with him as Ana could doppelganger around. Ana does actually manage to find X over there with the illusions, but he'll pay with his life as LGD, they catch the rat. They get Ana after Ana desperately tried to put the pressure on that top lane whilst LGD were pushing down mid. But LGD, they get both. The Brax and the successful defense.
And now an Aghanims comes out and he gives it to the Weaver. They haven't killed this Alchemist once. How will they do it with an Ag's time lapse coming in the back lines too? OG having 26 deaths between their two supports, suffering so much in this game to be able to find good positions as there's so much team fight from LGD.
And pickoff too.
And pickoff.
FY, he killed No-Tail, I think, just his first 2 spells and a vessel.
So they can burst down Chalice. They've got the setup with the Winter's Curse. Somnus is coming in for the sideline. Look at the disruptor. The Laguna Blade comes through. It's enough. Chalice got. Can they get anything more? Thompson turns his attention towards Somnus. Somnus pops the Manta Star. No-Tail. He's in trouble. Arme's on top of him with that Mionis. So much damage coming out for the Weaver. Somnus jumps forward. He's on top of Thompson. Thompson has the Alchemist form at the moment. He's cooking up his own concoction here as Seb being chased. He gets himself into the trees. Cold embraces out. X-Nova's there on the high ground. Magic missile. The magical nuke's enough. The blink out, but Jarex, he's surrounded. Arme goes towards the shrine. Jarex desperately trying to heal up, but the damage from Arme will be too much. They lose another in mid lane. FY just beaming down the middle with the Sunray, chasing back Seb. Thompson's down for 100 seconds without buyback, and Somnus, he's into the base, diving in with a blink cannon, trying to fight back and push them away, but the mid-racks get cleaned up by LGD. They're onto the tier 4 towers. They know that Thompson doesn't have buyback here, and they're abusing that as much as they can.
I think this has got to be one of the best Phoenix performances I've seen from FY. He just bought so much space for Somnus and is just wreaking havoc all across the map.
He killed 2 heroes by himself earlier when that was, yeah, FY definitely having an all-star performance
and again,
here.
The supernova by the base. They are going to try and kill it. Can they kill it off?
They can't get it.
They just can't kill the sun. As a buyback from No-Tail comes out, but the H is exposed. No-Tail immediately dies after buying back. The Winter's Curse is there onto FY. Will it kill him off? FY is still alive. FY, he'll finally fall. The Dragon Slave for Jarex finishes him off. He'll buy back those. He knows this is LGD's chance to claim this game 3. Somnus continuing to beat down onto the edge, but the Light Strike comes out. The Aghanim's time, that's from Arme, keeping Somnus safe. He gets the concoction out into Jarex. He's looking to dive towards the fountain as OG is still able to play around it, but the damage from Somnus. In goes Chalice as well with the primal sprinters. They beat down on the ancient. PSG LGD looking to close this one up, and they will. Game 3 goes to PSG LGD. As another pretty smooth and solid performance comes out from them. FY Phoenix, absolutely remarkable. The sort of the early Axe prioritization by Chalice working out as it was just team fight after team fight, and a fantastic recovery from Somnus as he struggled at the start against Thompson's Morphling, but down the line he made the comeback and he was pretty much involved in every single mid-game team fight.
They played so aggressive with their numbers every single time. It's just like 3 or 4 heroes were turning up, taking these fights. 21, 3, and 15 on Ame. And that was the Weaver that I feel like we weren't even talking about it too much. He just had this free reign in the backlines because of how much space the Phoenix and the Brewmaster were able to make inside those fights.
There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, 2-1 now for PSG LGD. This series just heating up that little bit more each and every game. Don't go anywhere. We'll hand you back to the panel as we'll have them break down that performance once again from LGD.
PSG LGD now 1 game away from lifting up the Aegis of Champions. We're here at the panel with Trent, Gods, and Nahaz. And gentlemen, PSG LGD is looking ridiculous.
Every single player you could point to, they're just having stand-up performance. It's like FY. He's called FY God for a reason. His Phoenix, 1v3, get the double kill. You have Ame going off 21 kills. It was insane.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the best way to sum it up. There's several moments. I think the Phoenix, that turnaround was probably the moment where everyone was like, oh, this must be over. I mean, Trent, that performance from FY.
From the start of that game, too, one thing that I was worried about was that courier snipe, right? Like, that went off to a very good start for that Morphling, because that's kind of the lane where you're like, okay, this Alchemist, you know, maybe he's not going to be pressured too hard because it's just a Morphling. You know, who cares? It's Morphling in lane, whatever. Maybe a couple denies, but I'll go back to my jungle, it'll be all right. Suddenly loses courier, and that means no more regen coming in. That means suddenly this is a really dangerous matchup. No one's going to rotate in to help you, but major recovery coming out there from the Alchemist.
Yeah, Nahaz, we talked about it before going into the game about what can OG do. They tried whatever they could, right? Sniping the courier, whatever else they could to get some advantages in lane, but PSG LGD just not letting a beat go.
No, and I think there's a lot that's changed in Dota over the last year from the last year out of this, but one thing that's not going to change anytime soon, when you get that outplayed at the 3 and the 4 position, it's going to be real hard to win. That Brewmaster and the Phoenix in team fights they were insane in the laning phase. They were insane in team fights, outplayed the Winter Wyvern and the Lina. I thought they fit well into the draft, but you didn't feel the impact of that Winter Wyvern being a 3 at all. It was pretty much just like a 5 position Winter Wyvern. And the Lina, she got the courier kill. Right. She had a couple nice sequences early on. Nowhere near the impact that we've seen from Jirax, though, on some of his other heroes.
And that's the cost you have when it comes to like draft flexibility, right? It's like there's not a lot of teams running support Lina for good reason. Yes, it's a great hero for Thompson, but if you can't actually get the impact out of it when it's support, you're going to suffer.
I think they thought it could even help kill the eggs. There were a few times where it's like, okay, they're all going to this egg, they're going to get it, and then there's an Alk stun or something at the last second that just stops it from going down. It just felt like every single team fight LGD were doing
Oh my god,
clutch.
those team fights were so much fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, the Supernova went off, I think, pretty much every time that mattered, and they're not able to come through. And they picked around it, right? We talked about it in the draft, but talk about a finals, right? Talk about a grand finals at TI. It's the draft is only a part of the game. I mean, you have to fulfill it once you're in game, and this time it was PSG LGD.
I mean, the hype back there. We're all watching the game, and I did take some notes because we actually have the best caster in the business backstage, and that's Winner. Winner is an entire different beast here, so I would just like to pull up some quotes here. When you're being saved by Winter Wyvern, put him in the freezer, keep him fresh. That's Winner part 1, so he's always looked good. They cracked the egg. Another classic Winner. Why are you burning water? How can you burn? As Morphling's dying to Phoenix. He has some great questions, you know? He's trying to figure it out. And that's pretty much it. Aquaman, you don't run. There is no water for you to swim. He's thinking.
Not wrong.
I mean, Winter.
Like us, OG had no answers to those questions.
No. We tried to help him.
Burning. What's going on here?
Yeah, logic thrown out the window at the face of a grand finals at TI. I mean, PSG LGD, some people started, we started giving OG a lot of credit as they deserved, but I think amidst that, we kind of forgot about what a team PSG LGD was coming into this, right? So much focus was put on OG's miracle run that we forgot that PSG LGD was kind of always a favorite to come into the grand final.
I think that's been the storyline. I think even when you look at, again, you go back to the series yesterday, they won. I think LGD were probably the better team in that series, and OG just made these amazing decisions under pressure as they have all tournament long. But you look at the games that they've won in this series, and it's just not quite enough. LGD is just that good.
I'd say a couple OG players also just need to step it up. I think Ant on the carry role, he had a few unnecessary deaths here. So I think for OG, they're making those clutch mid to late game plays, but they need those individuals to step up, whether it's Anna, Thompson, he had a rough game on Invoker the previous game.
Right.
They can play a lot better. We've seen it from OG, but they're not out of this series.
Yeah, it feels like they've been edging it out over and over, right? How many fights has Anna escaped in this bracket run at 50 HP? I mean, every single time he manages to do it on the Spectre, this game clearly not going too good on the PL.
Yeah, but that's, to me, the difference between LGD in this tournament and LGD when they had a little bit of a mini slump. It's LGD in this tournament are willing to commit. They're not going to let you get away with those 10 HP, 20 HP more than once. And I love that about this LGD team, that they have come in this tournament. They're not afraid to commit to a fight and get wiped.
Yeah, and talk about how we're talking about these two teams, right? It's not just us, it's the community as well as you're watching it. It used to be Thompson, what a story. This guy's crazy. No-Tail leading this team. And then suddenly we finish game 3 and we're talking about FY now coming back to being called FY God. Ame putting up the performances that a lot of the pro players themselves have been saying, Ame's the player that I'm looking for, right? He's probably the best one in this tournament right now and really putting up those numbers in game 3. I mean, PSG LGD definitely looks stronger in game 3, but the finals aren't over yet, right? 2-1 in the series. It is a best of 5, and OG's done it before. I mean, they've done it before where they've come back both against LGD and others, and right now, I think, Gods, you mentioned, maybe it is the individuals now need to step up a little bit more into their roles.
Yeah, and I think particularly that's where some of the veteran presence of No-Tail and even Jerex and Seb, these guys, they're the kind of OG core that stuck with this team, pulled the scraps together to form this lineup for TI. These guys need to, bring up Thompson, bring up Anna, because they're the younger players, the newcomers. Anna's played on this OG team before. He's won majors with them, but he is still only 18 years old, playing at TI in the main stage in the grand finals at such a young age. There's a lot of pressure on him as well as Thompson, and you could kind of see it a bit there.
Yeah, I mean, it is ridiculous to think about that. This team, so young, overall and as a team, is now at the grand finals and being called, top 2 in the world in Dota. It's insane to think about. I mean, let's say the series ends here. It's still a miraculous run, but it's not over yet. I mean, the hope's still there for OG to kind of refresh a little bit.
I'm not willing to talk about the series ending right now.
I mean, no, we all wanted to go 3-2 at this point, I think, with the performances we've seen on both sides. I think no one loses at that front because we've seen them adapt.
And I do think there's hope, right? Look, OG corrected a couple of the deficiencies in that last game. I like that they brought the early tower pressure. Once again, they had 4 LGD towers down by, I think it was 15, 16-minute mark. They were able to match the pressure of LGD in the lanes in a way that they hadn't in some of the earlier games. I think the adjustments were there, but at the end of the day, when the dust started to settle around 25, 30 minutes, Ame had his items. Anna did not.
Yeah. I think one thing about LGD too is that I'm very confident in any 3 of those cores. I think SVG might have brought it up too, is that any 3 of those core players, I can give them this game. And I don't think that's something OG have. Seb is fantastic. He has these crazy strats that are working. But Seb, often, he sacrifices himself. Right. Like, he puts himself on this Wyvern. He puts himself on this Train Protector to try and give Jerax a game, right? They're trying to bring this support up to the level of the cores. They're trying to use this Lina, try and use this Earthshaker. If that's removed for Jerax, I think they have a very difficult time. I don't think that you can get that same game plan out of Seb. And they need these kind of like cheeky ideas that they've abused to get themselves into this grand final.
It's no accident that he needed the game of his life yesterday to take from game 1.
I think a lot of people talk about like who's been like OG's best, most influential player to get here, and I think the 2 names that have come up is Jerex and Anna. That's the names I heard a lot of the players talking about. And Jerex, he's been a bit quiet, and so their 2 losses here, he just hasn't had that same impact he's had in previous games.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, sure, we can talk about Thompson and the numbers, but that's thanks to what these other players have been able to set up for the rest of the team. And I think what we're all talking about here is the OG we saw in the past 2 games isn't the OG we saw grow across the duration of TI, right? The international OG continued to, as you said, Trent, kind of take advantage of these cheeky ideas and these new ideas that they're bringing about themselves. And these past 2 ones, they seem to be playing PSG LGD's game, and it's the grand finals. I mean, they should flaunt everything they have. What are your thoughts on OG being able to go back to their previous form, Nahaz?
I don't know. I think OG are trying some of the same things that brought them success throughout the tournament. They're just up against a team that has that kind of talent and is playing that well. I really think it boils down to this. Just PSG LGD at every position is just incredible.
Yeah, I mean, earlier we heard No-Tail say, right, if I got to play in a finals, and that quote, I mean, lingers with a lot of people, I probably played my best, and that's all that matters. And PSG LGD definitely, I think, fulfilling that right now. I mean, Gods, their performance in Game 2, it seems to be getting better from Game 1 all the way to 3.
They're a team that wants it. The crowd, I think, is driving them on too. You hear them every time LGD wins a fight. They're chanting LGD. They're chanting the chat wall lines. They're just really getting on LGD's back and pushing them forward. And you can see LGD. They make their opponents look like they're not playing well. That's the thing. OG are not having a bad series by any means, but LGD is going to just make them look worse because of how amazing they are.
And LGD, they're warmed up, right? You know, they already started this day. They had the lower bracket, and they proved that they're a team that can finish things when it has to get done early. And that's something that OG have been beating teams with. You know, if you don't close out this game fast enough, we're going to get this Anna Spectre. You know, we're going to buy back on 2 heroes and team wipe you, and suddenly we're winning. That's pretty much what's brought OG several victories throughout this winner's bracket. And if you close out the game too soon, well, obviously you're not going to have that opportunity.
Well, and the old book, right, on the team that plans to play in the first series of the day is, well, how much do you show the opponent? Are they gaining information? Did we really learn all that much from that series this morning other than PSG LGD are just really scary?
Willing to play Luna. That's pretty much what we learned.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you hear the rumbling coming through the arena. It's time to get ready for game number 4 as PSG LGD leads the series 2-1 here at the grand finals of the International at the Rogers Arena in Vancouver. OG now truly has to fight back. It's not just about the momentum anymore. They are behind 1 game as both teams shoot for 3. OG, the one now really having to prove that they have what it takes to change it up, to bring something fresh, and perhaps throw PSG LGD a little bit off balance. I think, you know, even in game, we talked about it, right? OG did what they could early on to try to gain what advantages, but PSG LGD just didn't seem to be bothered at all and not shaken up.
Yeah, and we talked a lot about, like, Ame as well as FY having a great game. I think the biggest question for me is how do you solve the maybe problem? He, on his Kunkka, put his team on his back in a lot of ways. I mean, everyone played great, but he, you know, wins his lane, roams, ganks the other lanes, wins those lanes, and then starts taking objectives while scaling. I don't think we've seen a solution from OG as far as beating maybe.
Right, and what's terrifying is that that's not just like a one hero problem. He's been doing that on Bloodseeker, he can do that on Tiny, he can do that on Kunkka.